To see Downton Abbey, the grand finale. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, where we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanko, an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to talk about Downton Abbey 3, really, because that's what it is. It's the third in this trilogy based on the television show that went for 52 episodes. And it went from starting at 2010. And here we are finishing it up at 2025. So these actors have all been playing these roles for 15 years, baby. 15 years. That's a long time. And I was in the mood for something a little bit more light, a little bit more hopeful, especially after what happened yesterday. I'm recording this on the 11th. So, of course, everybody knows what happened on the 10th. And no matter what side of the aisle you preside on, I'm just wishing the Kirk family all of my love and prayers. There's going to be nothing that I can say or do that will bring him back to his family, and their lives are forever changed. So, again, my heart goes out as well as my prayers, and I wish there was more I could do. But anyway, I don't do any politics on this channel. But I figured I'd at least throw that out there, and because my mood was needed to be propped up. I'll just put it that way. It's been pretty somber out there in newsland, so let's talk about something positive. So I've been a big fan of this show. I tell you the truth, I never even heard of the show. Originally, I think it was like in its third season or something like that. And I was scouting for some Western project. I don't know if it was my Western or somebody else's, because I think my Western had been done. But anyway, there was a DVD set on the floor of this truck of which we were going to scout. And it was Downton Abbey. I'm like, what is this? He's like, oh, it's great. Well, there's a man, too. And I'm like, all right, I like history because I knew it took place, in the early 1900s. So I said, all right, I like it, and I like England in general. They are our allies, so I always wanted to visit. So yeah, let's check it out. So I did, and after a couple episodes, you get completely hooked into it, and it is a soap opera. For the most part, it's a soap opera. There is some drama in there. There's some action in it to a certain degree. Like, there's a couple of fist fights in there that happen throughout. Part of it takes place during, World War One. Yes, World War One, where they're putting people up as it became like an infirmary / hospice. They turned the house into throughout the thing. So and it's kind of like The Crown, where technology is changing and the royal family has to kind of keep up with it. The same thing kind of happens here, where we're seeing the times change, and this is an upper class household that has very stringent rules, and it's all about the hierarchy of society, and as time goes on, those things start to break down, where that hierarchy starts to envelop the lower class, if that's how, I don't know how to say it. But more and more, these hierarchies are starting to change, where the peasants are not quite, pushed away from these regal families, and I don't think that they have like very minimal titles and things to that effect. Like there's no Duke or Duchess or anything like that in here. They just run this very, old family household. And of course, it's a mansion. To compare it to the last one, I really enjoyed the last one because they were hosting and of course, it continues on. So if you have not seen the television show, you have no idea what's going on. So, because all the characters are in here from the television show, and what comes along with that is all of their histories and all of their chemistry. And that's really what makes this show, is the chemistry of the actors / characters. You had Maggie Smith. If you haven't seen the last one, I'm going to spoil the last movie, not this movie, that's the last one. But Maggie Smith died in the last one, and she died in real life as well. So this was kind of dedicated to her. But the last one had to do with them finding out about a love that she had and kind of confronting her about it. I think it was the Canary Islands. I forgot where the islands were. But at the same time, they opened their house up to a movie production company. And I really, really enjoyed that. I thought that, again, the chemistry of all that really worked. We got introduced to new characters that then continue on into this one. So the movie people from the last movie, some of them translate into this because Barrow ended up, Barrow is the gay character. Of course, they touched on that throughout the show about how, they touched on gay, they touched on multi-race couples, Lily James was in the show earlier on the show. She left the show kind of halfway through. But anyway, she had a relationship with a black guy at one time and how that wouldn't work. Not that the family was against it, but, for her social thing, I'm not sure if she actually just ran off with him anyway. But what's also, my favorite couple in here is Joanne Froggatt's character, Anna. So it's Anna Bates, and I don't know his first name, but it's Mr. Bates is the only thing that I've ever, not Master Bates, but Mr. Bates. But anyway, he took a bullet for Hugh Bonneville's character, which is Grantham. So I guess he's Lord. I guess that's the title is Lord. And so he's Lord Grantham, and he has married an American who is played by Elizabeth McGovern, who is Lady Grantham. Okay, so I guess that's the only titles there are. But anyway, my favorite couple is Anna's character and Mr. Bates. So I don't think I know him as anything else. I don't know. But anyway, so he took a bullet for him, so he ended up hired him on when he had a limp, and the limp's kind of gone away throughout the years. But they have the most chemistry, I think, of all the couples, which is funny because Joanne Froggatt is also on Mobland with Tom Hardy, and she has no chemistry with him whatsoever. I mean, none. And they're married. So it's funny and of course he's a better looking guy than the Mr. Bates is, but their chemistry is undeniable. And their relationship really grew over the years. I mean, really grew. We got to see everything from the beginning on. Anyway, before we continue, remember too that give me a like and subscribe to this. Ring that bell, ding ding, and give me that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, and if you can share this video out there, that would be great. I think more people should check out Downton Abbey. And remember too that I am a writer, so if you'd like to see anything that I've written, you can go to Amazon, just type my name in, or there's a link in the description below. You'll see my 4-novel quadrilogy. Destiny Aurora. It's a sci-fi in the vein of Star Trek, Star Wars, and Guardians of the Galaxy. So if you liked any of those, this has elements of everything in there. It was made into a board game, an RPG. It's on Audible. It's also a graphic novel. Definitely check that out if you're a sci-fi fan. Also, my YA fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch. If you like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, you're going to like this because of the fact that there's dragons in it. There's a whole magic system. Anyway, it's lots of fun. And then my new comic, Fairy Tales of Terror. We're in our second week. We're about to go into our second week right now. We're about to break $6,000, so we're fully funded. This takes place in New York City. We have the fairy tales have now come out of books. So we have a psycho Cinderella killing people with her broken shoe. We have a killer Captain Hook. I elongated his hook for this. He gave him his own little fire fairy, and they're being chased around as they're leaving bodies in their wake by Neverland's Tiger Lily. So it's got plenty of action and blood and the whole bit, and they're out for a nefarious purpose, but we don't know what that is yet, so it's a little bit of a mystery. Anyway, you can definitely check that out. We are fully funded, and we are unlocking stretch goals. We just unlocked a figure for Psycho Cinderella, which I'm going to give the STLs out to everybody so they can print them out. And now we have, everybody voted on to do a Tiger Lily one next, so I'm going to be unlocking that around $8,000. So we're getting there. So definitely jump in there. The QR code is here or the link in the description below. All right, let's jump back into Downton Abbey. So again, this kind of follows in the track of the last movie, but we have a few new characters in here. Paul Giamatti comes into this. He is the sister of Elizabeth Montgomery's character, and I think she was richer in America than Hugh Bonneville and her husband is in England. And she was funneling money to give him at times, but I guess at this point she also left it to her brother to manage, and that didn't work out so well. So he is coming to Downton Abbey to ask to sell one of their houses, or Grandmama's house, or whatever the house was that they're looking to sell. And he comes in with another character, that his name is Guy something, Sambrook. So we get that. But the main plot line is that Mary is getting a divorce, okay? And that is the main subject of the film because it shows how divorce was looked at in 1930. This takes place in 1930. So it shows how it's looked at on the female side. And her whole arc and the family's arc is getting over that societal blame. She's basically ostracized throughout the film from society because of the divorce. So that is the basic plot of this. I really wish, you know who the villain is kind of right off the bat. At least I did. I wish there was a little bit more tension in here and a little bit more drama. So the last movie meant quite a bit to me. Maybe that's why I like it more, is because during COVID, when we were opened up and we were allowed to film, even though we had to wear masks and get, checked 3 times a week, to swab up the nose, we were working back to back because none of the production companies wanted to leave LA at the time. So because they had to do a bubble, which means they had to put people into hotels for 3 weeks before you were able to even ready to shoot. So it was just too expensive. So everything was being shot in LA. And I was working back to back to back to back for almost a year and a half. I mean, I was turning stuff down. I was working on a Chris Elliott film. And the day that wrapped, the following day, I was on a Hulu show. So, I mean, we were working. By the time we were done, I was exhausted. Working. Well, I mean, Showtime stuff we were doing, we were working 15-hour days. When that started happening, I got a break of 2 weeks, or I just didn't take a show for 2 weeks. Well, I don't think it was even 2 weeks. I think it was 10 days. I said, screw it. I'm going to go to England. I went by myself because I'm not married. I just went to England, and there was a tour of Downton Abbey. It wasn't called Downton Abbey. It was called. Let's see. I got a book. They gave me a book while I went to the tour. Uh, so it was this, but it's this. I got the name of the actual thing, but there was a cookbook with it too. But I gave that out to somebody. But anyway, so we got to go on a tour, and I ended up meeting a woman that was alone. Also, she was on vacation with her son, but the son didn't want to go. So we just hit it off, and we basically went together through the tour. And because we were on a bus, I was staying in London, so it was further out of London, and then we got to see the village because there's a village that they shoot in. You actually see it in the movie. That's a couple of miles away, so we got to go there first, and then we went to the house. Fuck, I've got the name of the damn house. But we didn't get to see every single room, but we got to see quite a bit of it, and it's really, really cool. It's just amazing, and I can't understand. So when we went there, I'm like, where does everybody park, right? Because even if you see the movie, right, they show the outside, which they don't shoot on the outside a lot, but they do occasionally, where they show everything, which means the crew can't park there. So they got to shuttle like 100 people. Oh, God, because that crew's got to be 100 people. So, I mean, the budget is $45 million. So it's a massive budget for what this is, especially when the TV show was far cheaper. But anyway, so they have 100 people they have to shuttle in. I can't even imagine where they all park. I can't imagine where that parking lot is. So, and I'm sure that they don't want them parking all over the grass and all that other stuff down at the Abbey. So, I don't know, man. I'm at a loss about how far they had to park away to get shuttled in. They must have had at least 10 shuttles shuttling people in. That's crazy. And then where do they put hair and makeup and all that stuff? I guess they put them in one of the rooms or whatever. But yeah, they must have rooms all over the place about where they're shooting. But anyway, good stuff. But anyway, I had a really good time. And then she and I, it ended up that the new movie ended up playing while we were both there. It was like opening like a few days after we met. And so we ended up going to see the New Era. I think that's the last one was called the New Era while we were there. It was pretty cool. I couldn't have planned that better. So I haven't caught up with her for a while, so I guess we're gonna have a catch up phone call to talk about this. She wants to see it again when she went back. I guess her and her mom dress up and stuff like that, do cosplay, because the costumes are amazing. I mean, that's one thing about Downton Abbey is the costumes. They're just amazing. So here was my problem: the fact that they didn't really go a little bit further with the drama, like I think they should have, because they could have gone further with all the stuff going on. The stakes really were never very high, and they could have been, but it wasn't. And then they do the horse racing. Horse racing in real life is boring as hell. Just FYI. I do like that they put Mr. Carson is retiring in this. I would say Mrs. Potts, but I forgot her name. Of course, Maggie Smith is not in this. So Lady Merton is kind of taking control over, I guess, what Maggie Smith would normally do. And she's on this thing for the fair, the planning group. And she ends up inviting Mr. Carson and I forgot the other one's name that was her understudy, the cook's understudy. But anyway, so some of the stuff was I thought all that stuff was pretty good, but they end up forcing some stuff like Mr. Molesley. He was forced into this. He did not belong in this plot line at all, and they threw him in there. The relationship with Mary and her sister, I thought that developed pretty well. Giamatti just felt out of place, if that makes any sense. But my biggest problem with this was the editing. So it starts out with this amazing long Steadicam. I assume it's Steadicam rather than drone. Although the last step up, I have no idea how they did that. That's why I was saying drone, because they have to go up onto stage. So it starts out, in the air. Does it start in the air? No, maybe it starts on the street. So it starts on the street, yeah. So it starts on the street, and it goes all through people walking in front, the cars, blah, blah, blah. Then it goes into the theater, and then it goes through the door, but the door's not really there. Just FYI, that's how they do that. They CGI the door in after. But the door opens, and they go down, the walkway, and then they go up onto the stage. And that's the part I don't know how they did. Because you can see that there's no stairs there, but somehow the thing, unless it's on an arm, that's it. They had the Steadicam on an arm, so he was able to lift it up because it stops right there at the actor. But anyway, that's where we're introduced back to Barrow, because Barrow ended up going with the one of the actors in the last movie. So we got reintroduced to all that. But the beginning thing is great. So it's not the directing, because it's the same director from the last movie, the same writer who wrote everything, because it's his creation. And I went back and even looked at the editor, and it's the same damn editor. But yet, the scenes don't have any room to breathe. Like, he keeps cutting, like, in weird places. Like, people say a line, and it's cut to the next scene, and then they cut back to where they just were, or they're onto something else. And there was one like really bad, almost like a jump cut, where they turned and she kind of popped. So it was like a bad cut. So the editing on this was just poor. I don't understand it. So the only thing I can think of is, because it's a little over 2 hours, the only thing I can think of is that they wanted to reduce the time, and they cut out a lot of shit. Like, there's no transitions between scenes. They just pop in between scenes. Like, literally be like a minute of having a conversation, and it'll pop to something else. It's not normal for Downton Abbey to do that. And so I was like, wow, like friggin' rubber banding all over this place. Barrel, barrel, barrel. And I don't know if they did that purposely because of the ADD crowd. I don't know, because this is mostly made for an older audience. Like, I don't know many 20-year-olds that are going to see Downton Abbey. I mean, nobody's going to, hey, Ma, can I go see Downton Abbey? No, it's all made for an older audience. So I don't understand why they did the popping thing. It was just weird. It was just weird. And now when you go see it, you're going to say, well, that is true. I walk into the other theaters, okay? Everybody knows that. If anybody's watching this channel for a while, as soon as I finish, I walk into all the other theaters, at least on one side, because usually security, so I can't go to the other side. And I find a blank, and then I do my at a theater reaction, meaning a theater that has nothing going on in it. So I look for that, and then if I can't find one, I go outside. But it sucks when it's night. But anyway, I ended up walking into Fantastic Four, had 2 people in it, so that's over. The Conjuring was full. It was Thursday night, dude. Thursday night, and it was full. And then I walked into this anime movie, which I guess is called Demon Slayer. It was packed. I think it was sold out on Thursday night at like 7 o'clock or some shit. And then I walked out to the lobby. There's a line of people waiting to get in. And I'm like, are all these people here for that anime movie? She's like, yes. So this thing that people need to see themselves on screen is bullshit. So I live in Atlanta, okay? So 90% of the people looking to get in were black, okay? There's no black people in anime. Yet they were all really excited to see this cartoon. So this idea that people only see things where they can see themselves is bullshit. Just let you know. So anyway, I enjoyed the film for what it was. I was almost disappointed by the ending, because again, I felt like it didn't have the gravitas that some of the other ones had. I think he just kind of ran out of plot ideas, to tell you the truth. And So I thought it was going to end, and then it had another scene where we got to see some flashbacks and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed that because there's some characters that disappeared along the way, like the first sister died and very early on in the series, and from I forgot what illness she had, but she died from an illness very early on. So there was basically three sisters, and then the Mary was always really the progressive one, but I mean it was one character in the movie where she jumps right into bed with him, which was very, very odd for that character. Okay, so the character is sexually promiscuous, but not to that extent. For that time she is. But for her to hop into bed meeting somebody that's not Mary. So I don't know. I just didn't buy that. I didn't buy it. So there's a few things that I just didn't care for. But the characters are so fun to see together. Really, anything. They could do anything, and it would be a fun watch. So I'm going to give this probably a 7 out of 10. I think that the last movie was more like an 8, and I think this is one step below it. But this is the last of the group. It's been 15 years. I doubt they're going to be revisiting this. If you're a fan of the show, you definitely have to see it. All right, well, I talked about this way too much already. Remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can't subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding. And share this video out there as well. Remember, too, that I'm on Amazon. You can just type my name in, or there's a link in the description below. And on top of that, definitely jump into Fairy Tales of Terror. I think you're going to love it. And my QR code is here, or the link in the description below. Help us get over that 6,000 or 7,000 mark that we're reaching towards. All right, thanks again for watching, guys, and you guys have a great week.